Welcome to the Explainer. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Today, we are tackling a book that has literally been terrifying readers for an entire century, James Joyce's famously intimidating masterpiece, Ulysses. I mean, it's one of those novels that sits on countless bookshelves, usually half-read or, let's be honest, entirely unopened. But today, we're going to completely strip away all that heavy academic jargon and unlock this book together.
Now, if you've ever picked up this book, got about 30 pages in, and completely bailed, listen, you are absolutely not alone. So why exactly do most first-time readers give up on it? Well, it has this incredibly daunting reputation. It's seen as this chaotic, enigmatic mountain of a book. And because of that, people feel this immense pressure to study it, right? Rather than just sitting down to devour it and actually enjoy it. It's treated like a high-level puzzle that only university professors are allowed to solve. But we are going to completely shift that perspective today.
And to shatter that stiff academic vibe right out of the gate, I just want to share a quote from the novel with you. It reads, quote, "Perperp, perperper." Yep, that is a direct, literal quote. Despite this aura of intense seriousness that always clings to James Joyce, the guy was actually gleefully irreverent. He loved a good prank, and he was all about earthy, lowbrow humor. That exact sequence of letters, that's how he literally spells out the noise of a man passing gas in the text. He includes the taboo, the bodily functions, the completely ridiculous. So you can take a deep breath and relax. You do not need to wear a tuxedo to read this book. So where did that terrifying reputation actually come from? Well, Joyce himself didn't exactly help matters. He actually sent early readers this hyper-detailed, ridiculously complex chart called the Linati schema. It assigns a specific color, a bodily organ, a science, and a symbol to every single chapter. And it's charts exactly like this one that falsely imply you're dealing with some monumental, inaccessible subject matter that requires a secret decoder ring just to get through. But honestly, let's pop that bubble of pretension right now. Because the big secret about Ulysses, it's just one ordinary day in Dublin. That's literally it. We're not talking about a grand fantasy epic here, or some sweeping historical war drama. The entire novel is actually just a funny, raw, completely domestic story about perfectly normal people doing perfectly normal things.
Section 1. June 16, 1904. An unsentimental love letter.
Joyce poured a staggering 265,000 words into a single day that held zero historical significance to the outside world. The only reason it mattered was because it was the date of his very first romantic rendezvous with his future wife, Nora. So, at its absolute core, this massive, hyper-complex modernist novel is actually just a deeply personal, unsentimental love letter. A love letter to his wife and to his hometown of Dublin, which he had left behind. And if you want proof that the plot isn't some Herculean undertaking, just map it out. Over the course of 19 hours, what actually happens? Well, at 8 a.m., a character eats breakfast. At 10 a.m., another character is out running errands. At 11 a.m., they attend a funeral for a friend who drunkenly fell off a ladder. And by 4 p.m., they're just hanging out at the pub. These are incredibly relatable, everyday events. The magic of the book isn't really in what they're doing, but in who they are and exactly how they are experiencing the world. Moving on to Section 2, Meet the Dubliners, the three main characters. The real heart of Ulysses lies with three flawed, deeply relatable people who are just trying to navigate this totally normal day. And if you can understand what these three are struggling with internally, the whole book just opens right up for you. First, we have 22-year-old Stephen Dedalus. He's an aspiring author, and essentially, he's a rather unflattering version of Joyce himself. Stephen is an intellectual exhibitionist, he's thin-skinned, and he's heavily grieving the recent death of his mother. He feels like an orphan, and he's symbolically searching for a father figure. Then we have our true hero, 38-year-old Leopold Bloom. Bloom is an advertising salesman. He's generous, he's compassionate, and he's delightfully bumbling. Tragically, though, he's mourning the loss of his infant son Rudy, who died a decade earlier. So the absolute crucial point here is that Stephen is searching for a father and Bloom is searching for a son. They spend the entire day symbolically orbiting each other. And getting to know Leopold Bloom is really why he's the best entry point for new readers. His mind is just an absolute joy to inhabit. It's like living inside an overflowing, hilarious trivia encyclopedia. He thinks about everything from beekeeping to astronomy to catchy advertising jingles. His brain is this constant churning mix of high-minded philosophical questions, nagging, sad memories of his lost son, and a deep, unashamed relish for the simple delights of his own body, like eating a good meal or even going to the bathroom. He is just delightfully, messily human.
And that brings us to our third main character, Molly Bloom, Leopold's 33-year-old wife. She's a singer, and she's been stuck in a pretty stagnant marriage ever since the tragic loss of their child. In fact, she and Leopold haven't been physically intimate in 10 years. So on this specific afternoon, she is actually expecting a visit from another man, Blazes Boylan, who is going to become her lover. And the kicker? Leopold knows this is going to happen. This impending affair just hangs over Bloom's entire day as he wanders the streets of the city.
Section 3. The Unfiltered Mind. Demystifying the How.
All right, so we know the who and the what. Now we have to talk about the how, and this is usually the biggest hurdle for beginners, Joyce's revolutionary writing style. The magic phrase here is stream of consciousness. Before Joyce came along, novelists generally just told you what a character did, or they summarized their thoughts in neat, organized, polite little sentences. Joyce threw all of that completely out the window. He wanted to capture the subterranean complexities of the mind. So instead of a summary, he gives you a live, totally unedited feed of every random jingle, smell, fleeting memory, and bodily function that crosses a character's brain in real time. It's honestly like seeing all the browser tabs open in someone's head all at once.
To give you a real feel for what this style actually sounds like, listen to this famous excerpt from Molly Bloom's closing monologue. And then I ask him with my eyes to ask again, yes. And then he asked me would I, yes, to say yes. Notice anything missing? There's zero punctuation. It's breathless, it's ecstatic, and it breaks every rule in the book. It flows exactly how a sudden rush of memory actually feels in your head. Once you stop trying to read it like a traditional grammar book sentence and just let it wash over you, it becomes incredibly beautiful.
Section 4. The Odyssey Connection. A structural nod.
Okay, let's tackle that final bit of beginner anxiety. The rumor that you need a PhD in Greek mythology to understand this book because it's a massive tribute to Homer's Odyssey. Absolutely not. Let's just do a quick, simple mapping of the Homeric parallels so you know exactly who is who. In Homer, you have Odysseus, right? The impulsive adventurer trying to get home. In Joyce, that's our bumbling advertising salesman, Leopold Bloom. In Homer, Telemachus is the son on a quest for his father. In Joyce, that's our grieving young intellectual, Stephen. And while Homer features Penelope, the famously faithful wife waiting at home, Joyce gives us Molly Bloom, who is, as we already know, not so faithful.
But here's the absolute most crucial thing to wrap your head around regarding that parallel. Joyce mostly links his modern world to the classical model just to point out the differences. He uses the epic, aristocratic world of Homer to ironically frame the bourgeois, completely ordinary realities of modern Dublin. Where Homer's young hero grows to manhood under the direct guidance of the gods, Joyce's young hero is wandering around a broken culture in decline, borrowing shoes, and just trying to scrape together his rent money. It's a contrast that adds a layer of deep irony. It is absolutely not a strict one-to-one retelling that you have to memorize to get the plot.
So realistically, how do you, as a complete beginner, actually tackle this beast? I've got 3 practical tips for you. Number 1, just jump in and wander. Do not stress over every single esoteric detail or cultural reference you miss. Trust me, plenty of them puzzle even the world's top Joyce experts. Number 2, savor his wit, his whimsy, and his ridiculous puns. Allow the book to be funny. And number 3, when the style shifts drastically, and believe me, it will, try reading the text aloud. Listen to how Joyce is physically stretching the English language just to see how much meaning it can hold.
At the end of the day, reading Ulysses really shouldn't feel like a chore. It's actually an education in what we pay attention to, the limits of our own focus, and the weird strategies our brains use to make sense of the world. While we usually think of a good book as an escape from reality, Ulysses offers us something completely different. It's an exhilarating escape into the self. It's a deep dive right into the messy, unfiltered reality of human consciousness.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. Now that you're armed with the knowledge that this is really just a story about completely ordinary people, about love, about grief, and the boundless chaotic universe inside a single human head, are you ready to wander the streets of Dublin on June 16, 1904, and discover the messy, beautiful reality of the unfiltered mind? Grab a copy, drop all your preconceived expectations, and just let the stream carry you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy reading!